If you use ThinkorSwim, there are a handful of settings that you need to change. For example, did you know that by default, your ThinkorSwim is set up to have a delay of 3 seconds on your quote speed? You, of course, as an active trader, are going to want real-time stock data, so you're going to want to change that setting. Also, when you are creating alerts within ThinkorSwim, you probably want to be notified when they are triggered. If we go back into that same settings cog by clicking setup in the top right here, application settings, now we're going to go into notifications where you will enter an email that you would like alerts to be sent to. You can also add a phone number if you would like to receive text messages, and you can go ahead and uncheck really all of these other ones other than alert is triggered. So now when your alerts are, of course, triggered, you can receive emails and text messages. From within the settings cog on your chart itself, you're going to want to check this show trades box so that you can see your entrances and exits painted onto your chart. And there are a lot more best practices that you should have changed within this settings modal, but they're a little bit more subjective, a little bit more up to you. I want to continue covering the objective settings that you need to change within your ThinkorSwim, and then towards the end of the video, we'll pop back into this modal and talk about how you should set up your charts. If you ever find that your ThinkorSwim isn't running as smoothly as you think it should, head on over into the Help tab and press this Collect Garbage button. The application is always collecting temporary data in order to run, and this button will help free up some of that no longer needed data so that the machine is utilizing more memory to more smoothly run your ThinkorSwim application. In continuing the conversation of having your ThinkorSwim run more smoothly, let's back all the way out to the login modal. This is the screen you, of course, see when you click on your application and you go to log in. There is also a settings cog here in the bottom left of this modal. If you open this up, there is a memory usage section. What these two numbers represent are the min and max number of bytes that your machine is allowing this application to use from your random access memory. What you're going to need to do is raise these numbers to as high as possible that your machine can still run smoothly. Now, this is all going to depend on your own RAM specs. I have 32 gigabytes of RAM. I have a lot. It is last gen's RAM, so it's not the craziest stuff of all time, but these are the numbers that I have mine set up to with 32 gigabytes. And opening my task manager here, what you want to end up having happen is while you're running your ThinkorSwim and anything else you need to have open to trade, you really want your machine to be, I would say, no higher than 65-70%. You don't want to start getting too high on the memory usage percentage. It'll make your computer start acting weird. So adjust these min and max values, log into ThinkorSwim, open your task manager, do that and adjust these up until you get that memory usage about 60-65%. Next, let's talk links. As you can see here, I have opened up my left side drawer. I have a watch list gadget added with one of my custom watch lists running. I also have this link icon set to blue 3. There is also a link icon on your chart next to where you type in the ticker that I have, of course, also set to blue 3. What this is going to achieve is now anytime I click on a stock from this watch list, it will auto-populate onto this chart. This makes the analysis of stocks appearing on your watch list so much easier and faster. And if you are utilizing the flexible grid tab to have a multi-chart setup like this, you will of course also want to have all of these charts and other windows set to the same link so that whenever you change the ticker in one of them, it changes on all charts and changes your active trade window so that you are trading the correct chosen stock. Now, as we transition this video into chart setup, I just want to show you all the true capability of ThinkorSwim charting when it comes to custom coding. You can custom code your own indicators, your own studies, even your own automated backtest strategies, as well as you have all already seen one of my custom scanners. And a beautiful part of ThinkorSwim is that if you access any of these custom codes from a third party, you can easily import them into your system under, once again, the Setup tab, this time clicking on Open Shared Item, where you'll paste in a URL, import it, then that study, strategy, or scanner will be available in your lists. I'll actually show you all a real-life example of this from my website, just so you can see exactly how it works. Daytradingstrategies.net, into our strategies, into the ThinkorSwim section. Obviously, I'm going to look at a study for you all, and I have a list of share links of all of my available studies. All you're going to do, you're going to copy this share link back within your ThinkorSwim application, set up in the top right, open shared item, paste it in, preview, import. Now this study will be available in your edit studies and strategies modal. And I have published over 70 of these custom share links on my site, be it custom studies, scanners, or even trade strategy. So if you would like to get a massive head start in your trading journey on ThinkorSwim, I know 69% of all statistics are made up on the spot, but I would say if you're not taking advantage of ThinkorSwim's custom coding capabilities, you're only using 10% of the power of the platform. This stuff is so important. So once again, if you would like to access over 70 codes, check out the link in the description down below, access my site, sign up today, and become a better trader right away. Now let's talk chart setup. In order to do this, as you can probably tell, I have logged into the paper trading side of my ThinkorSwim application. That's because I've gone ahead and reset my entire workplace to default. So this is what yours will look like first time logging in. And obviously, I didn't want to do that in my real money account. So let's go ahead now and hop into the cog on the chart and talk through my favorite chart settings. So we've already touched on this first screen and this first setting, but let's just go ahead and get our show trades ticked on. Onto the price axis, I actually don't like to have anything fitting to the chart. That just means if I were to have a 200 simple moving average turned on and it were currently at 540 here on this chart, say, I don't think it would be. I think it'd be higher than that. But just for example's sakes, if I wanted to zoom in here, what the chart would do is it would stretch all the way out to still fit that 200 simple moving average in. I don't want my chart to do that. I want to be able to zoom exactly to what I want to see. So I actually turn all of these fits off. Obviously, as with anything, all of this is going to be subjective, will be sort of up to you. I'm just going to show you my favorite settings. You can come in and set your own. On to the time axis, I don't like any of these lines. This is just going to get rid of a lot of the background, your year lines, your rollover lines, if you're looking at an options chart, etc., etc. I don't like the lines on my chart. Just think it looks messy. I'd rather see a clean black slate background. Speaking of that, into the appearance tab now, if I also turn off this grid, that's going to make my background now completely black. Once again, just the way I like to have mine set up. Now, by default, for whatever reason, don't ask me why, but by default, your green bars aren't filled in on ThinkorSwim. So, of course, go ahead and fill them in, and you probably want your volume bars set as the same color as your ticks, at least I do. So that is the last setting I'd change. Go ahead and hit apply now. Oh, you can see I've actually taken some trades in doing other tutorials in my paper trading here on SPY. So you see how that functionality works now, and you can see how much better this chart looks. Oh, I actually forgot to do one thing. Where exactly is it? In the time axis here, where we turned off the lines, I forget that I also like to give a 4-bar expansion area to the right. That's just going to change. You see how this current bar is ramming into the wall on the right side here? I don't like that. I think it looks a lot better with a little bit of buffer. So this is my style. what I would do now, click on the Style tab, and I would save this, and you can give it any name you want. I'm going to call mine Subscribe to the Channel. I don't know why, just something that popped into my head. And now whenever I load in a new chart on a new screen, I can load in that style if it is not already pre-saved. So this is where I would perform my chart analysis. I would have my scanner open, linked to the chart as I showed before. I would be running a handful of my own custom studies and strategies so that I could very quickly analyze those tickers. Then, when it came time to actually place trades, I would hop over into my flexible grid where we will create a setup that's going to give us a much more exact analysis of where we should be entering and exiting. So the way I'm going to set up my flexible grid, I want 2 charts up top, 2 charts down bottom. So let's go ahead and add another chart to the right here by hitting this plus on the right side button. And let's go ahead and remove one of these charts from the bottom here. Now, let's go ahead and type in a ticker. And what are we going to do? Let's go ahead and link all of these. Actually, I believe I had red linked on my other screen. So let's make these ones yellow. Let's go ahead and link all of these screens together. So once again, whenever I change the ticker on one, it changes on all of them. Now remember, we saved that style earlier called Subscribe to the Channel. We're going to need to apply that style to each one of these charts as it doesn't do that by default here. So subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the channel. And I'm actually not going to do it on this bottom right section here because this bottom right section isn't going to be a chart at all. This is where we're going to, using our sidebar here, turn on our active trade window, and this is where we're going to perform our actual entering and exiting of positions. Now, just for the look and feel of it, I stretch this top one to the left, I stretch this bottom one to the right. And the time frames that I utilize here, I have my daily in the top left. I go ahead and turn on a 1 hour here in the top right, and I have a 5 minute down here, which is my active day trading time frame. I'm going to scroll this up just a little bit to make this a little bit larger. But what this is doing, giving me a large picture of, hey, what is the daily trend on this thing? Just so I always have a clear picture of what my bias should be in this ticker. Like, hey, this thing's been getting crushed over the last 2 weeks. I should probably be sell side bias in this thing today. Then you get a 1 hour chart breakdown before coming down to your 5 minute and looking to execute trades. Next, I would turn off the sidebar on all of my charts before clicking on this multi-box here, turning off the customized grid to get that pop-up out of all of my screens. And now I have my active trading setup. I'm going to show you all something cool here. I'm back on my website. I've zoomed way in so you all don't get access to a bunch of the share codes for free, but I'm going to go ahead and copy this Bollinger Bands trend. If we hop back into our flexible grid now, remember, open shared item, paste, preview, import. What I do with this study on this flexible grid is I come into my studies up here on my daily chart. I then turn on that DTS Bollinger Bands trend line, and now you can see I have a very clear picture of the daily chart, whether we are bullish, bearish, or in a chop zone. So now, while flipping through charts that are appearing on my scanner, I can immediately get an idea of what my bias should be on any given ticker. Please like if you learned something, subscribe if you would like to learn more, and as always, if those custom indicators sound interesting to you, you get access to all of them for less than 50 cents a code, guys. You really won't find value like that anywhere else. I'm sorry they're not free. I've spent thousands of hours building all this stuff. I'm sure you understand. I have to charge something, but less than 50 cents a code, I feel like is fair enough. So click the link in the description down below and go check that out as well. With all that being said, I'll catch you all in the next one.